give you a gamer's diet, okay? This is the diet that I have been using since mid-November, and in the last 2 months, I have actually lost 26 pounds. I started this diet at 228 pounds in my bulk. I'm now down to 212 pounds as of last week, and now I've started a different diet, so that diet's kind of, I can't really use that diet anymore for an example because I'm on a completely different one now, but that's because I'm trying to get really lean and possibly do another show. So, but this diet that I'm going to give you, I lost 26 pounds in 2 months. Now, before I get into this really hardcore, understand that before you start any diet, always go to a doctor, you know, always get your medical physician's approval, etc., etc. Again, this is my opinion only. This is what works for me, so don't take it for anything more than that. I'm just going to give you my advice because I have a lot of people who always ask me about it, okay? So, the first thing that we need to know is how many meals a day are we eating? 5. We're going to try to eat 5 meals a day. Why? Because we want to try to eat every 2 to 4 hours. 2 to 4 hours will keep our metabolism going, will keep your body burning the food that it constantly takes in. The problem is when we don't eat every 2 to 4 hours, our body starts to store the food that we eat as fat because it doesn't know when it's going to get fed again. Whereas when we get it onto a cycle of every 2 to 4 hours, our body actually, we end up eating about more or smaller portions throughout the day, so we're eating more times, but we're actually burning more calories because our metabolism is constantly working because it knows, okay, food's coming in a couple hours, food's coming in a couple hours, we've got this to use, this to use, this to use. So you've got plenty of energy, which is always really good. So we're going to try to get 5 meals a day in, okay? Now, we want protein at every single meal. What's a good example of a protein? Okay, egg whites, egg beaters, great example of a protein, a clean, low-fat protein, okay? The goal of this diet is low-fat, low to moderate carbs, high protein. That's what's worked for me. That's what works for everybody I've implemented this diet on. It always seems to work, okay? So you just need to be religious with it. That's just the way it is. So protein, so egg whites, egg beaters, obviously chicken breasts, okay? What else we got? We got lean ground turkey. Lean ground turkey is really good. It's one of my favorites. Tilapia, tuna, you know, salmon, lean ground beef, or lean ground sirloin sometimes even. But typically, you know, I stick with chicken, egg whites, you know, and some tuna. And that's pretty much my 3 triumvirates of protein. And lean ground turkey as mainly like my dinner meal or my meal that I cook every day. You know, I get that nice turkey burger out and, you know, make a nice turkey burger patty and, you know, load it up. So let's get into exactly how the meal plan works, okay? For carbohydrates, we can do things like brown rice, really good. Ezekiel bread, really good. If you don't know what that is, go into your frozen food section. It's not in your normal bread section. That is really good bread for you. I promise you it is. Gluten-free, wheat-free pasta is really good. But again, I normally try to stick with rice. Oatmeal's really, really, really good. Sweet potatoes are awesome. Those are really the 3 that I stick with. Are sweet potatoes, oatmeal, and brown rice. Those are my 3. Okay, between chicken, lean ground turkey, and tuna and egg whites, and then you add oatmeal, sweet potatoes, and brown rice. That's pretty much everything that I eat right there. That's it. So, and then as far as fats, what's a good fat to have? You're trying to keep fats low in this diet. So, you know, if you need to have them, you need to have them. They are going to naturally just come in stuff, so just be aware not to go overboard on your fat intake. You know, try to, if you can hit about, you know, 50, 60 grams of fat a day, I would try to lean a little bit lower than that, okay? Maybe 40 or 50, and just keep track of it. You know, you can use MyFitnessPal, use anything like that you want, just to try to keep track of stuff, and you should be fine. But going into the diet some more, so our carbohydrates, we have 2 meals out of the 5 where we're going to eat carbohydrates. If you're not working out that day, meal 1 and meal 2, you're going to have your carbohydrates with your protein, okay? Obviously we're having protein at every meal, but with meal 1 and meal 2, we can have our carbohydrates. Now, if we're training, okay, if we're training that day, we want to eat our carbohydrates pre and post workout. So 2 hours before, 2 or 3 hours before you work out, and then immediately after you work out for your post workout meal. The rest of the time, we're going to be eating our proteins with a vegetable. And then obviously that 5th meal of the day, or that last meal of the day, if you can fit 6 in, great. Depending on how long you're awake and how often you can eat. But if you can fit that 6th meal in, that last meal of the day, I always recommend a protein shake. The reason, and don't put whole milk in it, okay? Get some, you're gonna have to get some skim milk, some 0.5%. I use coconut milk, the unsweetened, because it's only 45 calories a serving, and it does the trick for me. I can pretty much mix it with anything and it's fine. And then you're only having, 160, 170 calories and 28 grams of protein right before you go to bed. So your body has some nice, good fuel to feed on while you're sleeping. But again, if you're training, carb meal before and after you work out. If you're not training, first 2 meals of the day, the rest of the meals, you're eating your proteins, and you can add vegetables to those meals, okay? The other meals of the day, besides your carbohydrate meals, add vegetables. Mainly because you're going to be hungry, right? You're not going to be used to eating that smaller amount of food, because remember, our biggest goal here is portion control, guys. So for proteins, what we're really looking for is, if you're a guy, probably about 6 to 8 ounces of protein with each meal. And with the carbohydrates, I would say stick anywhere from 40 to 80 grams, depending on on your body weight and things like that. But if you stay roughly around 50 grams, I would say, for about the average person, 50 to 60 grams in the pre-workout meal, 50 to 60 grams in the post-workout meal. You can always up that if you had a really, really good workout, maybe up the post-workout to 80 grams. But other than that, the rest of the time we're just eating vegetables with stuff. And what this is going to do is, this is actually going to teach our body how to utilize everything properly. So what the vegetables do is, obviously they're loaded with micronutrients. And they have very little carbs. So for me, spinach is my favorite vegetable. I want green vegetables, right? So broccoli, asparagus, green beans, spinach. Those are the 4 main ones that I like. And the reason that I like spinach so much is because it only has 1 gram of carb pretty much per cup. So I can have like a 2 or 3 cup of spinach, big old monster chicken salad, and it's not really going to hurt me that much. Because I like to eat. I like just the idea of chewing the food. It's a psychological thing. Like, the more I'm chewing, the more I feel like I might be eating, even though I might not be. So that's why I do it. So if you have that problem where you're just used to eating a lot and you just like to eat, maybe add a little bit of extra vegetable, and you should be okay. You are going to be hungry occasionally. That's part of a diet, right? Like, if it was really easy and awesome and everything tasted amazing, everybody would do it. Everybody would look great, right? So it does take some self-discipline. So let's cover everything real quick. We've got 5 meals a day. I've given you some proteins. I've given you some carbohydrates. I've given you some vegetables. So of those 5 meals, 2 meals we want carbs. If we're working out, pre-workout, post-workout, we're having our carbs. If we're not, first 2 meals of the day, right? Other than that, vegetables with the meal. Last meal of the day, we want to try to fit a protein shake in right before we go to bed. And I've given you lists of all those things. That's pretty much an easy way to start on this diet, guys. It's not expensive either. A lot of people think that eating healthy and eating clean is really expensive. It's really not. I do it pretty much all in like 50 bucks a week. So that's my budget for food, and I make it work. So you can too. You just have to learn how to buy, be strict about what you buy, be buying quality stuff, and then don't be buying a lot of extra stuff. That's the other thing. The other thing that people do ask me about all the time is condiments, like what condiments are getting bad. Typically salsas are pretty good, mustards are pretty good, hot sauce is pretty good, sugar-free ketchup, some dressings, if they're light or fat-free, are okay. But again, with condiments, everything in moderation. Same thing with sodium. People are like, oh, well, I heard salt's really bad. It's not great, but if you're starting a diet, you're obviously, like you've had a ton of salt, lower your salt. Don't put salt on every single thing. Like, don't load it with salt. And that's one of those things that you can slowly try to, kind of take out a little bit of your diet. And the other thing, obviously, you want to be doing, drink at least a gallon of water a day. Especially if you're dieting and you're working out a lot, drinking a gallon of water is not as hard as you might think it is. What I like to do is, when I wake up in the morning, I fill my big jug and I try to chug, like, even if I just chug a quarter of it, it makes the rest of the day a lot easier to get through the rest of it. I bring it to the gym with me, I bring it everywhere. So that way I know I'm getting my water intake. And some people will put things like, Crystal Light packets, MioFit, whatever they want into that water. That's perfectly fine. We're not counting calories that hard at this point. I just wanted to give you guys a quick diet that should work for you. It's worked for me, like I said. Don't ever start a diet without contacting your doctor, but I hope this helps. I hope you guys like the diet. Again, if you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. And between myself and, there's a lot of fitness people who watch my videos, I'm sure they'll be more than willing to give you their opinion. They always are willing to give me theirs, so I'm sure they'll help you as well. So leave those in the comments below, and I'll try to leave the description of the diet in the description as well, so you know kind of what's going on. But I hope this helps, and as always, see you in the next one.